Greetings, everyone. My name is Gerard, editor-in-chief of Filipino Soul Magazine, aka SGIB, stands for Soldiers Got Intentions. Believe that, because everyone should be soldiering for something, a dream, a goal, an idea, a train of thought, something. And on the PBG's production, stand for photos by Gerard, the best in freelance publicity photography. Don't forget to subscribe, please, and hit the bell. I was wondering about some things because I've always talked to you about Hollywood stories, some of the things that happened to me, or some of the things I experienced and been involved in while in Hollywood. I never really talked about my Vegas experience because my Vegas experiences was something that you don't want to write home to mama about in some incidences. But before I do that, so you understand, let me give you a breakdown what's in a name, okay? I call myself Ciao for now Gerard. For those of you who don't know, ciao means goodbye in Italian. That is a idiosyncrasy I picked up from an Italian woman who I once had years ago. Her name was Paola. She was from Pescara, Italy. I always spoke to you that we're all a part of what makes us all individuals because of the people that we come in contact with. And no two people have the same contact with the same individuals. And because of that, that makes us all unique. So that's where I got ciao from. So when I say ciao, that's paying homage to Paola. Ciao for now, Gerard, of course, aka Double OG. Now, Double OG is, you might say OOG or whatever it is, or first of all, let me break down the G. Okay, the G as is known in the world out there is just G. G may stand for gangster. G maybe stand for, it automatically conjures up a certain image of someone who's a G, a baller or something along those lines, or what have you. I call myself G-E-E, which is more applicable to me, G, because I never really want to roll around as a gangster or baller or anyone or associated with anything like that. Now, Double OG. Now, Double OG is like 007 James Bond. I call myself Double OG because I'm not just, they say OG, you're OG, you're original gangster or old gangster or something like that. No, to me, Double OG is on the coattails of 007. For the simple reason that I have always been able to be like on Star Trek and just materialize in any situation, in any group of people, at whatever level of walk of life, and blend in. I have blended in to the point to where it's that, people, after a period of time, who is this guy? You know what I'm saying? And okay, see ya. But is he police or who are you? How'd you get in here? Or things that I've always been able to blend in. Whether it was cultures or rather it's just just blending in. And because of that, I feel myself like a Double OG. I feel like someone who with the gangster moves, with the with a baller mentality, with someone who can just infiltrate. That's what I do. I infiltrate. I infiltrate wherever I am at because I'm always alone. I always move solo by myself. So being an infiltrator, you have to be very careful. Very careful. I found myself in situations that could have cost me my life, time and time again. But then, because I listen to my sixth sense. See, you never ignore your sixth sense. I never do. When it says, Okay, Gerard, time to move. I move. Like I could be sitting, I could stop at a bar, and and I'm sitting at the bar, and there are people in their club or whatever, and I'm sitting there talking and chatting. Often the time I'm chatting to the hostess, or a female, or I'm chatting to to some guy with some businessman, or some redneck, or I'm chatting with somebody, and then out of the corner of my eye I might see somebody go like that. And when I see them go like that, then I feel I become a mark. Then I feel that my sense says time to move, set up. Or I could be sitting with a white person, and we done went through all the current events of the day, or we could have talked about politics, we could have talked about cars or whatever, because I'm very knowledgeable. I'm very knowledgeable of a lot of things. I know a little bit about everything, but not too much detail on anything. I guess that might be the best way to say it. In other words, I can carry a conversation. And sometimes I feel tested if I'm talking to somebody white, who's clean cut, glasses on, who may have had a college degree or someone like this, and I'm making my point of view, and they're making their point of view, and what have you like this, and what have you like this. And a point in time in that conversation, it'll come, my grandfather was from the South. And I said, I said, stop. My sixth senses tell me, what's coming up next, Gerard. He's going to go racial on you. He's going to want to talk about some situation in the South where his grandfather, whatever it is, or he can't, his intellect or his ability to outshine me intellectually has gone to the point to where is that he feel the need to want to put me down, or feel the need to want to clip my wings, especially if there's an audience, girls or whatever like this, talking to girls or whatever like this, they say, okay, well look, I'm gonna hit him, in the racial, and so stop. Look, I tell him, look, man, stop. I don't want to go there, and I tell them, because you're going to want to talk about racial. I said, look, my half brother is white. He lived the white world. He's a doctor now. He's whiter than you are. 5 years older than I was. I said, when he learned the words of blackie and darkie and came home and kicked my ass because I was black and whatever it is, so you can't talk to me about race. You can't talk to me about prejudice. You can't talk to me what it's like being hated by two things that you have no control over, and that is where you were born and the color of your skin. So I don't want to have that conversation with you, because yours is coming from of an area of hurt pride, because your pride is hurt now. You know what I'm saying? Because you ran against the wrong cat. I was in LA one time and sitting with a bar, and Mayor Tom Bradley was running for mayor, and I'm sitting in there chilling. We're watching the election or whatever, and a Mexican guy was sitting there. And so I asked the Mexican guy, I said, well, look, man, who you gonna vote for? He said, I'm voting for the white guy. I said, why? He said, because I don't like black people. I said, why? I said, that's stupid. Don't you know the Mayor Bradley, being black, a minority, would do more for you than this white guy would? And it just amazes me, or it amazed me at that time. But I was glad he was honest, very, very honest, or whatever. Which brings me to something else. I was involved in a Russian culture, and I remember, one of his dear friends, I was involved in a family. I had a family. I have a Eastern Europe family, Ukrainians, Russians, or Kabukistan. I was part of that culture, man. And one of the dearest couples, had a daughter, beautiful girl. She was going to be a doctor, And you mind you, they would come over our house and celebrate our holidays. We would have the timeshare, go to Poconos or go somewhere. They would come and celebrate the holidays with us. Because I was with Tatiana. Tatiana was kind of like, You know, she was like she was like the gorgeous one. You know, she was the one who had it more together, I guess you should say. You know, and Nina and Yorick, God bless the dead, and Nina who's on my on when I went back I saw the both of them, and Yorick was very ill, and said that would be the last time I would see him, and it was. But it was good seeing Nina, and she's on my Facebook. So whenever I see her, I say, I love you, Nina. You know, so anyway, so they were like the head of the clan. And when I first met Yorick, I met him in Long Beach, Long Island, and he was a drinker. Him and I used to drink, and I can honestly say I out drunk a Russian. You know, I used to drink him down, and like this or whatever, and it was nice. It was nice. I would play chess with him and beat him and all that stuff. It was good. I beat Russian in chess, yay, like this, whatever, like this. But then he got clean. He put down the booze. Didn't drink anymore. Playing chess to me was boring. No challenge. I can understand it, but he was a fantastic guy. I love him to death. I love Yorick to death, and Nina. I love them to death. And it was unfortunate, you know, I lost him. Anyway, so we had a couple, and they had a daughter, and she decided to go with the black man, and the father was livid. He was upside down. No, I don't want you. No, you can't. No, they're this and that. No. No, I'm sitting at the table. No, I'm fighting. No, they're fighting each other. Oh, he sold Mercedes Benz. He wasn't just, you know, some schmo. You know, no. He said, no, you can't. And he would say all these things. He would turn to me, except you, Gerard. You're different. And then he would go off on this rant about black people and stuff like this, whatever, like this. And it always amazes me, because that's happened more than once. I've seen people go off and then turn to me and say, except you, Gerard, you're different. I want to talk about this before I tell you what I really want to talk to you about, and before I finish with it. I was in North Carolina. I was on a tour, and I was in Charleston, South Carolina. And one of the people who was like the Roadies, helping me move my equipment, I was inviting me to his house to have dinner. So I said, okay, cool. So I went to so him and I in the living room, big living room, South Carolina, big living room. Wife sitting over there, he's sitting over there, and I'm sitting here, and the news is on, and we're talking about the news, all this stuff like this, and, you know, politics, all this stuff. He got up and went to another room. And his wife said to me, she says, I never knew black people can be so intelligent. And I said, whoa. So that kind of caught me up. One more story. My dear friend Bobby Lavandowski, who I worked with him for a motor company, you know, he invited me to San Jose. He said, look, whenever in San Jose, just come on by. I said, okay. So I decided to go to California. I was right. I got time. Let me tell you this story. This girl had my hairdresser, who used to do my hair every Friday. You know, she had gone to California. Bobby and his family had went. Ford Motor Company was shutting down, you know, laying off people. He decided to pack up and go to San Jose, California. So she had gone to California, and I took a bus with her into the city. I was living in East Orange, the former building where the mayor used to live, and where Millie Knight, Gladys Knight's sister, used to live. Millie and Jerry Knight, where they used to live, and that's another story too, because you know, they were actually waiting for the bankruptcy to I guess go its course to 7 years before they can get any of their money back or be able to move forward for the money that they lost in Pipe Dream, the movie starring Gladys Knight. And the reason it lost money was because it's going to turn into a Hollywood story. Let's see how much time. Okay, I'm on 14. Okay, what happened was that there was a time in Hollywood, I guess, where famous black females, you know, their husbands were looked upon as freeloaders because they weren't doing anything, they weren't producing anything. And I guess the kind of same thing, you know, I mean, the white were doing the same, but for some reason the blacks, men were looked upon as, you know, as leeches, hanger on to the wife's coattail. And so Gladys Knight's husband, you know, wanted to do something. he has some directing experience. He says, I want to do a movie. 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 You know, it's funny because Mary J Blige has this song called Stay Down. And, you know, it's just stay down. We're almost to the very last part. Stay down, like this type of thing. But there's a part of the song where Mary J Blige tells him, she says, sometimes you simply amaze me. I hear you talking, but I swear that you're crazy. And it's so funny because I can see him coming in and say, Mary, all I need is $100,000 and I can build this. Or Mary, all I need is $200,000. Mary, this is a great investment for it. Mary. And Mary's like, will you just stay down? We're almost to the very last part. Stay down. You always have a place in my heart. Something like that. So anyway, so Gladys Knight's husband said, I want to do a movie. And this is a story told for me by Millie Knight and Jerry Knight, you know, because we used to hang out by the pool together. You know, Jerry had my first Seville I ever seen, not seen, but rode in. He had a nice black Seville. You know, so anyway, so Gladys Knight had said, fine. She said, okay, you find the script. I will star in whatever it is that you want to do. So okay, so he went out and got the script called Pipe Dreams. For those of you who don't know, Google it, look up the movie. The movie was about an Alaskan couple, lovers, a couple of whatever, trying, pursue their, I don't know. I never saw the movie. Don't think harsh of me. I've never seen a lot of movies. But anyway, so he got the script and he got the director from the Lords of Flatbush. If you know anything, the book The Lords of Flatbush or the movie Lords of Flatbush, and the star of that film was Sylvester Stallone. And the movie didn't fare that well. The director got mediocre reception as far as directorial, abilities on the film. And what happened was that they were looking for a leading man to play opposite of Gladys Knight, because Gladys Knight said she'll star in it. So in the contenders, they had not Sylvester Stallone. They had Richard Roundtree. Richard Roundtree was the major choice to want to play opposite of Gladys Knight in Pipe Dreams. But him being the director, Gladys Knight's husband, he says no, I want to play the lead. So they said fine. It's his movie, his money, his investment. If he wants to play the lead, okay, let him play the lead as long as the checks keep coming. They had an option to shoot the movie in a Hollywood backlot. Hollywood backlot, you can turn into a desert oasis. You can turn into, Kilimanjaro. You can turn into, the Antarctic. If that's what you wanted to build on a backlot, you could, because that they had a set designers that were just that creative and the ability to replicate anything that they wanted to duplicate as far as location was concerned. But he was like adamant, no, I want to shoot it in Alaska. I want it authentic. I want to shoot it in Alaska. So him, of course, being the director of the film, the one holding the purse strings, they said fine. So they went to Alaska and they shot the movie. They went way over budget because why? Because the main reason, because equipment kept freezing. Film kept freezing. Things of this nature was too cold to shoot. It was too cold to do this. It was too cold to that. And they ran way over budget for the movie. So the movie was released, and it was released as a box office disaster. It didn't make any money at all. So Gladys Knight, Millie Knight and Jerry Knight, who invested heavily in the movie because they figured, Gladys is going to be in it. Hey, so let's sell the kids. You know what I'm saying? So they went bankrupt. So Gladys and Jerry were waiting for the bankruptcy to take its course before they can actually get their finances back in order. So that's the story of Pipe Dream. So anyway, so I'm riding in the bus with this girl, my hairdresser, who lived in the building I was with. I lived with a girl named Cheryl at that time. She was my second wife. So Cheryl had left the scene. You see, why did Cheryl and I part? Oh yeah. Cheryl was very, I don't go into much about a relationship, but who taught herself Japanese. Cheryl, I gotta tell you about Cheryl. Cheryl was a girl who I met. I was driving in the city, and I passed this building, and I saw this girl sitting on the stoops. So I ran and said, "Hey, you want to ride?" She said, "Yeah." So she got in the car. It turned out it was a homeless shelter for women. So I'm driving her out, talking to her, whatever, and she asked me if I can, if she can stop by Western Union. So I said, yeah. So she went out to Western Union and went, said what she had to do and whatever. So it come down, to make a long story short, and found out that Cheryl was a street entertainer. And she was actually sending money back to Toronto, Canada, to her manager. So I'm like, damn, why are you sending money back to this cat? You in New York, he in Toronto. Why you say, oh, she was strung out on him, whatever. And so, of course, see, I don't want to keep going. You got to read my book. I don't want to keep going back in stories. But anyway, so, my game, was, okay, look, I would take you off the streets. But you just can't come off the streets. You got to work your way off the streets. You got to show me you don't want to be on the streets. I'm not Captain Save-A-Ho. I just can't pick you up and fly you off into the land of milk and honey without knowing that you really wanted to be there, deserved to be there. There was a time when if a girl wanted to be with a man, she would choose him. How would she choose him? She would put money in his hand. Here, I choose you. So, oh, okay. Now I knew you're serious. Well, those type of things. So anyway, Cheryl and by being a photographer, Cheryl being gorgeous, I used to utilize my models in photographing her, and so in photographing her, I was headhunter. I found trying places for her to model and what have you, and she ended up in a full spread page in Avenue magazine as one of the models who was showing the Glamour Evening PM look. She also ended up as one of the models who were in Bloomingdale's, who were on a TV screen. At this time, they had TV screens of women closing their eyes, putting makeup on, showing them how to apply it. Well, Cheryl was one of those face models. Cheryl met a guy named Tong Huey. If you don't know who Tong Huey is, look at the credits of Popeye and Bo Derek 10. Tong Huey was a tribute to discovering Bo Derek. Tong Huey was a lawyer. I don't know if he's Japanese or Chinese, lawyer, which Cheryl taught herself Japanese, by the way, by herself. And so he hired Cheryl to come with him every day at the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons is a very plush restaurant in New York City. And just sit there at the table while he conducted business with whoever his clients or whoever he wanted to do and eat. And he would send Cheryl on assignments throughout the week. You could go have your nails done, go have your hair done, go ahead and go shopping, go ahead and go this, and pay her $200 a week. So it was very nice. That's all. She just had to meet him, have dinner. They'll sit there for 2 or 3 hours. When he first was clients, and she would go. So it was nice. So this 1 week, he didn't pay Cheryl. So I'm like, okay, time for me to come out from behind the shadows. You owe her $200, and you need to pay my girl, I don't know if we married, my wife, her $200. And he looked at me and said, oh yeah, security. I got like this, oh. I said, okay, Cheryl. Okay, you count that 200. Gone, write it off. So anyway, I was shooting other models at that time. My biggest coup with Cheryl is that when I was driving taxi, this woman got in the cab, and she was the advertising director for Denny's Cosmetic company. If you know anything about Denny's Cosmetics, you know it's a huge brand. So while I was talking to her, while I'm driving her, I'm telling I'm a photographer, all this stuff like this, and y'all like to share my work and all this stuff like this, and you need to branch into the black market, blah 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 blah. So she said okay. She gave me a card, and I called her, and so I went to a meeting. I took Cheryl with me. Of course I should have taken a black model, which I didn't have, but Cheryl was just as gorgeous. So Cheryl was there. So she got up and she said okay. She got up and she went in the back room and she gave me about $300 worth of cosmetic stuff, which is a lot at that time. She said, okay, here, let's see what you can do. And at this time, my being a mediocre photographer, I was like, okay, I know I can get into the door. Because see, that was the most important exercise I learned. I learned that I had the gift of gab to be able to get in the door at any place, and I got in the door there. I was on the bus and I met this gorgeous Indian woman, fantastic, red dot Indian. She was just knocked down gorgeous, and so I wanted to use her as a model. Cheryl knowing makeup, Cheryl became very jealous and started, she just started just doing crazy stuff with arguing and all this stuff, whatever. And so, she ended up being accepted into Toronto's University in Toronto, Canada. We used to fly back from New York to Toronto every weekend. When I got paid, we'd fly. We'd take gold and whatever. But then they stopped her at the border one time and said, "You're flying too much. You can't go." So I had to fly back to Canada, and I married her, and then that's how we ended up being married. So anyway, the girl who I was riding the bus with, she just came back from California. She was telling me about California, and the whole time she was telling about California, my mind is thinking like, wow, Gerard, whatever you're doing, you can do anywhere in the world. Why don't you go to California? You have Bobby in there. Why don't you go? So within a week, I packed up everything, hopped on the bus, flew my stuff down by air, Tiger Air, and what have you, and knocked on his door, and that's how I ended up in San Jose, California. So anyway, that's that whole story about getting to California. Now, why I was telling you it, it'll come to me. But let's get back to the name. Double G. Oh, yeah. Oh, because my being able to blend in. Yeah. And even in California, I had some very close calls. So that's why I call myself Double OG. I'm going to do a part 2 on what I'm going to really show you. You already know that. Mr. Vegas to some. I say, my name is Calvin Alf Gerard, a.k.a. Double OG. Mr. Vegas to some. The reason I say I'm Mr. Vegas to some because I used to be on a radio show called Hollywood Connection from Florida by Dawn Reeves, who was also affiliated with the Godfather Soul and Bonnie Hilton Sweeney, the founder of the Pre-Grammy Party. In fact, in Mr. Brown's magazine, when I opened up, I saw her name. I said, "Hey, your name is on top of mine in the credits," so we get a big kick out of that. So she had a radio show, and she would call me every week, and I would report about the happenings, some story in the entertainment business or what have you. It stopped because this one week it was the anniversary of Sean Bell, who was gunned down by police, and I had his mother on the phone and talking to her about life after losing a son to police violence. Of course, it wasn't the type of a format for that, which I later kind of understand. I had Timothy Wilson, I had some people from Michael Jackson camp and the Jackson camp and all that stuff on there, but it wasn't the format for that, so the sponsors felt that it was rightfully so it was okay. So that's why I'm calling Mr. Vegas. Mr. Vegas to some. Representing the purple one. The purple one is Prince. I always want to give knowledge to Prince, the Continental, because that's what his song is. One of his favorite songs I like is called The Continental. Cut, The Fade of Black. Now bring it up. Let me tell you to kick the facts. And tell me how, now do you. Tell me how you do you. Tell me how you want to be done. Continental. If you want to ride a merry-go-round up and down, that you and your girlfriend just ride up and down, I could be a slave if you want me to. Do anything, everything you want me to. Because you know why? I want you to have fun. So how you want to be done? That's why I said continental. Now, the Prince of Wannabes, and you're going to be surprised about this, the Prince of Wannabes I got from Charles Manson. I was watching Charles Manson, one of his interviews, and he says, I'm the Prince of Wannabes. And I said, wow. I said, so am I. People always come to me and say, Gerard, I want to be a model. Gerard, I want to be a singer. Gerard, I want to be, a videographer. Gerard, I want to do this. Gerard, I want to be that. So I became the Prince of Wannabes, because whatever it is that I can do to help you get to where you want to go and get to in life, okay, I want to be the one to do it. I want to help you. And that's one thing about Bonnie Hilton Sweeney, is that she was all about networking. That's what networking is about. And that's what's lost today. What's lost in today is how to network. People don't network anymore. It's about, what can I do for you and how much you're going to give me for doing it? Bonnie was like, oh, do you need... I want to do a magazine. They're going to do another one. I told Bonnie I wanted to do a magazine. Bonnie said, you want to do a magazine, Gerard? I said, yeah. She said, call this guy. So, I call Harry. His name is Harry Wrangler. So I call Harry Wrangler. I said, Harry. He said, yeah. He said, Bonnie Hilton Sweeney told me to call you. He said, Bonnie told you to call me. He said, yeah. He says, well, what do you want? I said, I'm putting a magazine together, and she thought maybe you can help. He says, okay, hold on. He says, look, call Craig Miller. Call Craig Miller and tell him that I gave you the number and told you to call him. So I called Craig and said, Craig, hi, my name is Gerard. Harry told me to call you. He says, okay. He says, what do you want? I said, I'm putting a magazine together, thought you could help me, whatever. He says, no problem. He sent me a website with a password that opened up the whole world of entertainment. Every artist that was going on interviews, every artist that was dropping a project, every artist that was giving interviews, and concert information, whatever it was I wanted to do. It was like being in a grocery store and being able to pick and choose what it was I wanted to eat. That's how it was with the artists. That was through networking. That was the type of person that Bonnie was, and that's the type of person that I want to patent myself after, is that whatever I can do to help you get where you want to get to in life, please let me be your Prince of Wannabes. Let me help you.